It's actually significantly worse than Windows 10 is for gaming, at least right now, because there are several bugs and issues and problems and everything that are stacking up on top of each other to make the gaming and general experience, in fact, on Windows.
April 2025. Windows market share drops below 65% for the first time since 1995, down from 73% just 18 months ago. That's an 8 percentage point collapse in a year and a half. But here's what's truly terrifying Microsoft executives. The decline is accelerating. Linux hit 7.4% market share, up from 3.1% 2 years ago. That's 139% growth. Mac at 16.8%, up from 13.2%. Chromebooks at 4.9% in desktop usage, up from 1.8%. Every competitor is growing. Windows is the only platform shrinking. And it's not just numbers, it's who's leaving. Developers, IT professionals, enterprise customers. The core users who built entire careers on Windows are abandoning the platform. Bill Gates, who hasn't run Microsoft since 2000, attended an emergency board meeting April 15th, and according to multiple sources in that room, he exploded. Called the Windows strategy suicidal, said management is deliberately destroying the most valuable software franchise in history, demanded immediate change, or predicted Windows would drop below 50% market share by 2028, because this isn't a rough patch. This is platform collapse, and the people who should care most are the ones causing it. When the exodus became undeniable, January 2025, StatCounter publishes global OS market share data. Windows at 68.2%, down from 69.1% in December. Tech media barely notices. 1 percentage point isn't news, but people tracking trends see something alarming. Windows has dropped every single month for 14 consecutive months. Not fluctuating, dropping, consistently, relentlessly. That's not normal variation. That's structural decline. By February, Windows is at 66.8%. March, 65.4%. April, 64.7%. The trend is unmistakable. Windows is losing approximately 1.5 percentage points per quarter. Extrapolate that forward. By end of 2025, Windows could be at 59%. By mid-2027, below 50%. Minority platform. For the first time since Windows 95 launched, Microsoft might not have majority OS market share. That's not a crisis, that's an apocalypse. But market share numbers don't capture the full picture. Who's leaving matters more than how many, and the data shows the most valuable users are fleeing first. Stack Overflow's developer survey shows Windows usage among professional developers dropped from 62% in 2023 to 47% in 2025. Nearly half of developers abandoned Windows in 2 years. They're switching to Mac and Linux. The people who build software are leaving the platform they're supposed to build for. The developers who gave up. Marcus Chen is a senior software engineer at a fintech startup in New York. He's used Windows since Windows 3.1. Built his career on Microsoft technologies. C. .NET, SQL, Server, Azure, entirely. Microsoft Stack. In November 2024, his company gave him a MacBook Pro. Said they're standardizing on Mac for engineering. He resisted, requested a Windows machine. They said no. The decision was made, Mac only. He spent 2 weeks hating it. Different keyboard shortcuts, different file system, different tools, everything felt wrong. But then something clicked. His development workflow got faster. Docker containers ran better on Mac. Terminal was more powerful. Package management was cleaner. The OS didn't interrupt him with updates, didn't slow down with telemetry, didn't show ads in the start menu, didn't force AI features he didn't want. It just worked. Fast, stable, predictable. 3 months later, he bought a personal MacBook, stopped using his Windows PC entirely, sold it. He's done with Windows, not because Mac is perfect, because Windows became intolerable. The constant updates breaking things, the forced AI features interrupting work, the ads in an OS he paid for, the privacy invasions, the performance degradation, He fought Windows for years. He's tired of fighting. Mac doesn't require fighting. It's a tool that works. Windows is a platform that demands constant management and delivers decreasing value. The enterprise revolts, happening quietly. But the developer exodus is just one part. Enterprise is revolting too. Not loudly, quietly, through procurement decisions, budget allocations, strategic IT plans. The language is bureaucratic. The impact is brutal. Jennifer Patel is CIO of a pharmaceutical company with 12,000 employees globally. They've been Windows only since 1995. Microsoft everything. Windows, Office, Exchange, SharePoint, Azure, Active Directory, the entire Microsoft ecosystem. In October 2024, her CFO asked a simple question. Why are we paying Microsoft $47 million per year? What are we getting for that money? She didn't have a good answer. Windows 11 is worse than Windows 10. Forced AI features nobody wants. Performance problems. Constant updates breaking things. Office 365 subscription costs keep rising. Azure prices increasing. Support quality declining. They're paying more, getting less. The CFO suggested evaluating alternatives. She started pilots, Mac for executives, 200 MacBook Pros, Linux for developers, 400 workstations on Ubuntu, Chromebooks for call centers and retail stores, 800 devices, Google Workspace instead of Office, 365 for 3,000 users. The pilots ran for 6 months. Results? Users preferred the alternatives. IT costs dropped. Support tickets decreased. Performance improved. Security incidents declined. Every metric showed the alternatives were better and cheaper. The Bill Gates Emergency Intervention. April 15th, 2025. Bill Gates attends a Microsoft board meeting. He's mostly retired, focused on his foundation, climate, global health. Hasn't been involved in Windows strategy for 17 years, but he still owns 1.3% of Microsoft stock, worth about $50 billion. When the platform he built is collapsing, he pays attention. And according to 3 separate sources who were in the room or briefed immediately after, Gates was furious in a way nobody had seen in decades. He went through the problem systematically. Windows 11 hardware requirements locking out 50% of users. Forced Microsoft accounts alienating power users. Ads in the OS insulting paying customers. AI features breaking workflows. Privacy invasions driving users to alternatives. Performance worse than Windows 10. Every strategic decision making the product worse. Who approved this strategy? Who thought forcing AI features that don't work was smart? Who decided ads in Windows was acceptable? These are the stupidest decisions I've seen in 40 years. Gates demanded answers. Nadella defended the decisions. AI integration necessary for future relevance. Hardware requirements improve security. Ads generate incremental revenue. Account requirements drive cloud adoption. Every decision justified by some metric or strategic goal. Gates wasn't buying it. You're optimizing for quarterly metrics while killing the platform. Windows is dying, developers are leaving, enterprises are planning exits. In 3 years, we might not have majority market share. And you're worried about AI integration metrics? This is insane. The board meeting devolved into argument. Gates pushing for immediate strategy reversal. Remove hardware requirements. Make AI optional. Remove ads. Let users create local accounts. Fix performance. Make Windows good again. Nadella and allies resisting. Too much invested. Can't reverse course. Would look weak. Would validate critics. The meeting ended with no resolution. Gates warned that if Windows drops below 50% market share, Microsoft loses platform power. Applications stop being optimized for Windows. Hardware manufacturers deprioritize Windows support. Developer tools get built for Mac and Linux first. Network effects reverse. Once that starts, it's irreversible. The platform doesn't recover, it dies. He predicted it happens by 2028 if strategy doesn't change. Board members dismissed it as unlikely. Gates left the meeting convinced Microsoft was making the same mistakes IBM made in the 1980s, watching their platform dominance evaporate through arrogance and strategic incompetence. The revenue collapse. That's coming. Microsoft's Windows revenue was $21.5 billion in fiscal 2024. That's from OEM licensing and commercial volume licenses. The number looks stable, but it's a lagging indicator. Revenue today reflects decisions made 2 to 3 years ago when enterprises signed multi-year licenses. Those licenses expire. Renewals are coming up, and enterprises aren't renewing at the same rates. Survey data suggests 35 to 40% of enterprise license renewals will reduce Windows seat counts. Companies migrating portions of their workforce to Mac or Linux. The seat count reductions don't show in current revenue. They show when licenses renew. For contracts expiring in 2025 to 2027, Microsoft is looking at potentially 15 to 20% Windows revenue decline. That's $3 to $4 billion annually from Windows alone, but it cascades. When enterprises reduce Windows seats, they also reduce Office 365 seats, reduce Azure consumption, reduce Teams licenses. The entire Microsoft ecosystem is tied to Windows adoption. Lose Windows, lose everything. Analysts estimate $3 billion. Windows revenue loss triggers $5 to $7 billion total revenue loss across the Microsoft portfolio. That's $8 to $10 billion annual revenue at risk from Windows decline. Microsoft's total revenue is $245 billion. Losing $10 billion is 4% revenue hit. That's enough to crater the stock, and it compounds. If Windows drops from 65% market share to 50%, the revenue losses double. But revenue is just money. The real existential threat is developer ecosystem collapse. When developers stop building for Windows first, the platform becomes secondary. Applications get released on Mac and Linux first. Windows versions come later with fewer features and more bugs. That's the beginning of the end. It's already happening. Major developer tools prioritize Mac. Docker Desktop works better on Mac. Homebrew is Mac first. iOS development requires Mac. Android development prefers Mac or Linux. Machine learning frameworks optimize for Linux. Game engines target console and PC simultaneously, treating Windows and Linux as equals. The next generation of developers is learning on Mac and Linux. Computer science programs are teaching on Ubuntu. Boot camps use MacBooks. Microsoft is past the point of prevention. They're in damage control, trying to slow the decline, but they're not reversing it because they won't fix the fundamental problems driving users away. What happens next? May 2025. Microsoft faces impossible choices. Admit Windows strategy failed, remove hardware requirements, remove forced accounts, remove ads, remove forced AI, fix performance, make Windows good again. That acknowledges years of strategic mistakes, costs billions reversing course, damages management credibility, or maintain course. Hope the bleeding slows, hope competitors stumble, hope something changes. That's path of least resistance, also path to platform death. All signs point to maintaining course. Nadella's entire strategy is cloud and AI. Windows is vehicle for that strategy. Making Windows optional undermines the strategy. Can't force cloud adoption without forcing Microsoft accounts. Can't monetize users without ads. Can't justify OpenAI investment without forced AI integration. Every bad decision serves a strategic goal. Reversing decisions means abandoning strategy. So Microsoft will maintain course. Keep forcing features users hate. Keep watching market share decline. Keep losing developers and enterprises until revenue drops enough to force change. That happens when Windows hits 50 to 55% market share, probably 2027 to 2028. By then, the damage might be irreversible. Network effects fully reversed. Developer ecosystem migrated to other platforms. Enterprise customers locked into multi-year contracts with competitors. Bill Gates knows this. He saw it happen to IBM, saw it happen to Novell, saw it happen to BlackBerry. Platform dominance isn't permanent. It requires constant vigilance, constant focus on users, constant delivery of value. Microsoft stopped delivering value, started extracting value. Users noticed. They're leaving. And once critical mass leaves, the rest follow. IT professionals refusing to deploy it. Developers switching to Mac and Linux. Enterprises evaluating alternatives. The data was clear. The trends were obvious. Microsoft ignored it all, prioritized strategy over users, investor perception over reality. And now, they're paying the price. Windows market share collapsing, revenue declining, ecosystem eroding. All avoidable, all self-inflicted, all because Microsoft thought they were too big to fail, thought users had no alternatives, thought platform lock-in was permanent. They were wrong. Users have alternatives. Alternatives that respect them, that work better, that cost less. Users are choosing those alternatives in increasing numbers. If this opened your eyes to Windows collapse, share it, because Microsoft won't tell you this. They'll report strong cloud growth, talk about AI leadership, act like Windows is fine, but market share doesn't lie. 64.7% and falling. By 2028, Windows might be a minority platform, the operating system that defined personal computing for 40 years, reduced to legacy status because Microsoft stopped serving users and started exploiting them. That's the real story. That's what's actually happening. And unless Microsoft changes course immediately, Windows dies. Slowly, publicly, preventably, but inevitably. The death of Windows, caused by Microsoft. That's the tragedy. And nobody with power to stop it is willing to act. Subscribe for what happens when Windows drops below 60%, because that's coming in the next 6 to 9 months. And when it does, the enterprise panic becomes full exodus. The revenue collapse becomes undeniable. The board is forced to act. Nadella might be gone, strategy might change, but the damage is done. Trust is destroyed. Users have moved on. Developers have built on other platforms. Enterprises have signed contracts with competitors. You can't undo that. Windows had 40 years of dominance. Microsoft destroyed it in 5 years. Through arrogance, through greed, through contempt for the users who made Windows successful. That's the lesson. That's what everyone needs to understand. Platforms die when they stop serving users. Windows stopped serving users. Now Windows is dying. In real time. Undeniably. And Microsoft only has themselves to blame.